Got a flow like MF Doom, except he plays halos with guns that go kaboom. He likes to give you the real shits to stick with on set if you like realness.
Dude, that was actually fun.
There you go.
My name is Mark Hatcher. People know me as Onset. I'm a commentator for the Halo Championship Series, and that's pretty much who I am. I'm a big fan of Halo Infinite. We've been waiting a long time for the game. It's been like 6 years or something until we've had to get our hands on a brand new Halo game. I think it's a great mix of the old and the new, and it's a lot of fun. The sandbox is a lot of fun to play with. I like how the competitive environment is feeling at the moment. I think a lot of the players are enjoying the game too. So I'm a big Halo Infinite advocate. That is exactly how it started. It started going over to my mate's house and playing CE. And then we obviously got massively into Halo through CE. And then when Halo 2 was about to be launched and everything, they had the little stations in game, and you used to go in there, and I used to bunk off college and go and play at lunchtime when I could get my hands on the game. Because I didn't actually own an Xbox until about halfway through Halo 2. And then I got my hands on it, and that was it. That was over. I used to bridge Wi-Fi. I still don't know how I did this, by the way. I used to bridge the Wi-Fi from downstairs on my laptop, then to my Xbox. I used to play on like bottom yellow bar, but it worked. I didn't care. I didn't know any different at that time, and I used to just love it. I was playing Halo 2 on like yellow bar. It was wonderful. Marry. Bravo. Fuck Dan Gaskin. 100% he's a hot man. Kill. Unfortunately you, mate. I'm sorry. But like in a loving way. I'd kill you like in a cool way. You know what I mean? Like we'd jump off like the top of a building after a big night out, but I'd survive by landing on you. So we'd have a memory. I wasn't surprised too much by the meta that we saw in Raleigh. I think everyone got their hands on the game pretty quickly and worked out how it was meant to be played. I think the only thing that was stopping some teams in comparison to others was some game time. There were some rosters that were formed a little bit later than others. But heading into Anaheim, I think everyone now has the practice under their belts. And I'm seeing the game be sped up more and more. Everyone's starting to play at a very, very high pace, which is something we saw at the end of Halo 5. And also, there's only one team that's kind of been slacking a little bit behind because of unforeseen reasons. Royal 2, we know what you did. And it's going to be Sentinels. So Sentinels is going to be one to watch for sure, but I think the meta is going to be very quick. It's evolved quite fast. I do. I think that the EU scene is the strongest it's been for years and years. The last time I remember the EU scene being this strong was maybe back in Halo 3, where you had 4 or 5 teams who were really competing for that first place spot. Even then, it was kind of Power and Fnatic who were the two that were going at it at the very top. So it was kind of first place, second place. But now, in EU, you have the likes of Ascend, you have the likes of Quadrant, like you mentioned, the 2 French teams. But then you've also got the likes of Na'Vi, you've got the Lads, who are a team that have come out of nowhere. You've got Blackhead, who have been amazing as well. And then you've got like the old COD roster that are putting in some really good performances as well, who have moved over from Call of Duty to Halo. So I want to give those a shout out. They had a huge performance in the Open series this weekend. So shout out to those guys. I think it's healthier than ever, and the longer that they go over to LANs and get more experience, there's, the EU scene's going to be doing well and challenging NA. The reunion tour only happens when the contracts get signed, Jackie. You know this. It's been on the table for some time. Get your people to look at it, and let's do some Westlife numbers.
Yeah.
You ready? I'll count you in, so
All right.
I'm already.
Onset, he's always on deck, never misses with the mangler, he just leaves you laying down. He's quick in the game, he's quick to the flow. Halo Infinite, that's how he goes, ho. You don't wanna fuck with this man in FFA, cause right now he'll leave you dropping mad F's in the chat. You're never coming back, he doesn't deal with that shit, he's not back in black. It's like the MIB, he'll make you forget. You wish you could remember, but the issue is you can't. He's out there giving it the big one. He's a big man, he's got big guns. Inside the game, he raps like he's hardcore. Got a flow like MF Doom, except he plays halos with guns that go kaboom. He likes to give you the real shits to stick with on set if you like realness.
Dude, that was actually fun.
There you go. I have decided I want to become a rapper.
It's pretty good. Writing music's been something I've done for years and years and years, but because of the job, esports and everything kind of got pushed to the side. But with the pandemic, one of my really good friends, David Gain, we got together and we started just making music because he was like, had nothing to do. He had all his work cancelled. I had all my work cancelled initially. And we ended up writing some really cool music. I don't know what the song's about because Matt wrote the lyrics. I just play the guitar. I'm just that guy. I just play the guitar and just kind of nod along. So it's called Under the Surface though. Go and check it out, Aptiki on Spotify. How many controllers have I broken? I'm just gonna reach over here. I might go out of frame for a second, but there's 1, there's 2. Shout out to Battle Beaver, by the way, for sending that one over. I'm sorry it didn't last longer. 3, 4. This one's lost the back plate. There's 5. I think 5. But I will say none of them from playing Halo. None of them from playing Halo. From playing a different video game. From when I played to where it is now is obviously a considerable difference, right? We used to take our Xboxes up to wherever it was. I remember driving to Stoke for a LAN. It was still one of my favourite LANs. I think it was one of the first LANs that I went to that was just in some weird like community centre. It was a bit sketchy, to be honest with you, but I met so many people there and it was awesome. And those people, even to this day, still speak to. That's the great thing about community, right, in esports in general, Halo specifically. And seeing where it is now, I've been lucky enough to kind of move from playing into the commentary position and, you know, experience the events that we get to see now. It's still pretty mind-blowing to me. Like, Raleigh for everyone was like I think a landmark moment of the pandemic era of everyone having to play online, a new game, 6 years of waiting, all of those sort of things. The chemistry came together for an amazing event where the energy was, you know, second to none. And it just makes you feel very lucky to still be a part of it and see the players, most importantly, getting what they deserve for being so talented in what they do. Well, that's what people don't understand, right? It's because I'm actually a con man. When I used to get on teams, it was just like, I'd just sell them a dream. I'd sell them the dream. I don't know. Like, when I did my degree, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Like, I genuinely didn't know what I wanted to do. I spent more time playing Halo at university than I did anything else, to be honest with you. So, I don't know. It's maybe having an understanding of how business practices work, how to speak to people, like outside of the game is probably a good thing because you build up great relationships from doing so, but I'll be honest with you, it's pretty useless. It's pretty useless. The 2018 Halo World Championships was like a landmark moment for me professionally. Being asked to do the grand finals of a Halo World Championships is a crazy thing. Like it's the pinnacle of what you work for, right? It was only earlier on in that season that I got to do a final for the first time. So there was like a real amazing moment where everything came together. We had our 2 best teams in our grand final. I had one of my best friends to my side in Bravo, a man who I respect like an immense amount and wouldn't want to commentate Halo alongside anyone else. And you had Golden Boy on stage, you know, hyping everyone up, doing his thing. And it was just this amazing moment where I was like, okay, I've worked for this and I'm just gonna have fun with it. It was just always will be like a moment in time for me where it's like, hey, I managed to do that and no one can take that away from me. It was just a bit of a shame that the series was a bit shit. That's a really, really good question. When I started commentating, I had this, when I first started commentating, I wanted to be an analyst. I wanted to be, you know, chair 2, the guy who was breaking down the plays and using my experience as a player. But then someone said to me, I think it was Sims actually, Richard Sims, who said, you've got a voice to be a play-by-play. And I was like really nervous about it. Like I was like, okay, I'm gonna give this a go. And I remember, shout out to Wonderboy, one of the first broadcasts that we did together. I asked him if I could host and be chair 1. And he was like, yeah, man, go for it. Like, and that was the scariest thing ever. Because I'd never hosted the show, the ins and outs, the throws, all that stuff. So I was literally winging it. Like I didn't know what I was doing. But I think when you start out, you look at other people, you aspire to be other people, right? And you're like, you have these preconceived ideas in your head that I'm the play-by-play guy. I need to be hype all the time. I need to be shouting all the time. Everything needs to be amazing. But it doesn't. And like, you try and imitate what other people do that you like. And over time, you realize that it's more about being yourself, right? And bringing your personality through and not just shouting at everything and not, you've got to assume that the people who are watching have some understanding of what's happening. It's not what's happening on the screen that I'm telling you. I'm trying to tell you why you should be watching it, you know, the stories behind it and reasons to care about the game. And then when those hype moments come as well, not fumbling your line and making sure that it's a moment that everyone can remember. So I think it's just a maturity thing. You kind of move out of the shadows of others that you aspire to be and kind of put the trust in your own personality and what you want to portray as a commentator and the stories you want to tell. I'm not sure if we're going to see that bigger shift. The younger players obviously are going to be experiencing Halo for the first time, especially the PC players. Mouse and keyboard balancing along with controller is always going to be an issue. But I think something that a lot of newer M&K players kind of overlook is the fact that a lot of the top professionals in Halo that A, are playing on controller, but B, have been playing Halo for like 20 years now. Like 20 years of knowledge they've built up on how to play every single situation, you know, down to the T. And I think for M&K players, they might look at it and think, you know, it's just a case of hitting your shots and doing all this stuff. But Halo's such an in-depth game that it takes time to get that knowledge on board. So it's going to be some time. I would love to see it. It's one thing I think everyone would love to see, some crazy M&K players coming out. But I think the fact that it's free to play and, you know, you can plug your controller in still is amazing. If you want to get involved with Halo for the first time, then do it. There's no better time than now. Wow, I'm so talented. Well, as a player, when I played, I was always that guy as a support guy, putting shots down all over the place. So I'm not surprised, to be honest with you. I'm the perfect teammate, everybody. I'm the kind of guy that makes you go plus 10, plus 12. Just listen to my call-outs. The game's easy. If ZX gave me the call right now, I'd probably have just woken up from a coma or something, because I haven't heard from those guys in a long time. But no, I don't think I could, unless someone like offered me like a ridiculous contract that was gonna secure me financially, then maybe I'd think about it. But like, I love commentary, man. I love commentary. I love the people I work with. I'm very lucky in the fact that like in Halo, I work with my best friends, and there's not many jobs you can say that you do that with. And you know, these are people who live in all different parts of the world. So I don't think I'll be ready to give that up. I love what I do. I work hard at what I do, and yeah, maybe, you never know. Never say never. This motherfucker is slut dropping in my house.